Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Leadership in Bluejeans. With me today we have Mihnea Crăciun, Managing Director at Endeavor, and Ioana Rențea, who is the VP of the Professional Women's Network and the Business Unit Manager at LLP. So welcome to the both of you.
Hello, thank you for invite us to talk a little, small talk, if I understand correctly, about,
we get there in a second, because first of all I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell the viewers a little bit about what is it that you're doing.
I presume I should start because
Go
I'm
ahead.
a lady. Okay, so I am business unit manager at LLP Bucharest, local branch of LLP Group, a company specialized in IT&C, and we play with some consultancy, and we are happy to work with small and medium companies in Romania and East European countries. During the weekend and my free time, I am proud to be, member of PWN, Professional Women's Network Romania, a non-governmental organization, and I act as a VP, Vice President and Entrepreneurship Pillar. Our organization not play, act and try to convince people that the gender balance is the best solution to manage companies and to enjoy.
I got it. Thank you so much for the introduction. Mihnea, how about you?
I have a different hat than I had 1 year ago, for example. And my storyline is I've been a banker for 20 years, and then starting this year, I took on an entrepreneurial hat and started and launched the local chapter of Endeavor. The Endeavor Network being a global organization of support for entrepreneurs and their businesses. It is basically my first entrepreneurial attempt in this respect. Very hectic for the first 6 to 7 months, but amazingly energizing at the same time.
Okay, so it seems to me a little bit you two have at least something in common. You're both supporting entrepreneurs, and as we discovered a little earlier, you both have, let's say, a focus or a passion for also supporting female leaders, although that's not necessarily your primary role.
Well, it's not, but you're touching a very, very important topic for me, and I think
Also for me, yes.
Ioana, it's a pleasure to actually connect in this setting. I'm working with a number of entrepreneurs that I'm preparing for the selection process of our network, and I have to say that most of the most visible ones, at least, are men, and I've been a corporate person for 20 years. I can tell the reality in the field is different. So I would like to see more, women entrepreneurs. I would like to see them more visible, and because obviously they have amazing stories that they can tell and amazing leadership stories that they can tell. So it's something that I will probably reach out to you after our discussion, because I'm really interested and curious to know some of your members.
Oh, nice to hear, because our members are quite interesting ladies and very powerful. But I don't know who said that behind the powerful man always is a more powerful woman. And probably the best option is to have both. Managing a company or a big one or a small one, because each part could contribute with his and her native skills and put together like a family, Because in a family, you always have a mother and a father.
I see.
This is the best solution.
I just noticed the two of you have a lot of things to discuss. However, I wanted to today draw a little bit on both of your corporate experience also. Both of you have been spending a lot of time in corporations. You have developed as managers through the ranks in various stages over the course of your life. And so there's one thing that's a very fairly advanced topic here today, which is about how do we develop an enterprise mindset as leaders that focuses on a much broader view on the enterprise, on the organization, rather than just on maybe the team or the business unit that we're managing. So to give a little bit of context, there's this concept of, as an enterprise leader, you have two roles. One is you're a builder, but you're also a broker. You're somebody who builds a team and builds the vision for a unit, and it develops individual people in their teams. But at the same time, we're also brokering those visions and connected in an authentic way with the culture of the company. We broker the value that we have. We even broker resources that may people that are in our own team to deliver them to where they're needed most. So that would be an example of how, as a leader, you sometimes, in these two roles, you're wearing these two hats. Such as, for example, let's imagine you run a local company that's owned by a global one, and you have a local product, but in your portfolio also the products that actually are in global. So now a global company wants you to do more with their global products, but you also know that your local ones, contribute a lot to the bottom line. So it sounds like you kind of have to compromise there. So you can't just focus on what we're doing, what we've been building here, but also you have to satisfy the needs of the enterprise. So that's kind of the position of conflict, where we need to decide how much we build, how much we broker. And I was wondering if you may have stories from your own past that you remember, where maybe even examples where it became clear to you that it's not enough for me as a leader just only focus on my direct area of responsibility. Does anything come to mind with one of you? Maybe early learnings?
Let me start, but
okay.
You're again opening a very deep topic, because it is always about brokering deals between parts of the organizations and teams, and it is never easy, because what we learn is that there are fights that you are supposed to fight, fights that it's probably not worth fighting, and again fights for which is worth dying for or sacrificing yourself. I think it's and they don't teach you this when you start. It's actually when you start growing up that you discover it's also a bit of a political game in the end. My lesson is that you should always focus on your team, your people, and then kind of expand and see them in the general context, because ultimately you depend on them to deliver results that you can actually then project at the global level. And you need to try to promote them as much as possible, give them as much as possible confidence that they actually own their ideas and their jobs, and also protect them when they fail, or protect them when various parts of organizations react differently to their actions. I think that's my biggest lesson that I learned in 20 years, because if you don't have a good team, then it's extremely difficult to deliver anything in the context of a multinational company.
Right.
But if you also put it in a smaller context, without a strong team, it's impossible to start or do anything, irrespective of the size of the entity.
Yeah.
So that's my...
I have the same experience, and I've realized after more than 16 years in LLP that the local team, my colleague, are more important comparing with the group, but we also need the group, because we need from time to time their resources, their knowledge. So yes, in fact, we should make some politics. I don't like politics. I really don't like. I prefer to work because I am a very good worker. But if I want to protect my team as a family, I need also to, to use good words and proper words in order to arrange the things. And also we should celebrate after each success, because if we do things very well here in Romania and we didn't tell to everybody, they could consider that is normal. They are worker, they should deliver. So from time to time it's better to show what you do, what good you are, and so on. So yes, I have the same approach.
I don't know if it's the same approach. I heard something different.
Why?
Yes, I heard that from Mihnea at least, that the way I understood it at least, that you understand that sometimes the need of the organization may trump your own individual ones. Although you're saying with regards to care and investment, you take your own unit first. That's what I heard.
People would come to you and they can say, look, I have this project I want to follow. But at the same time, this project is not seen as a priority for the group. And I've had this thing several times. I've heard this several times. And the question for you as a manager is, what do you do then? Because you know you have your KPIs, your objectives at the group level, but you also know that if you do not allow people to thrive in what they like, it's going to be a short-term game to actually deliver consistently and then build teams. So I think it's a fine balancing act eventually between keeping people happy and making them fulfill their dreams and their visions, allowing them to put these visions in a corporate setting and kind of trying to align the objectives with the corporate. It's no big deal, but it's when you say it, but it's much more difficult to implement it, because sometimes you need to go against the tide in order for your team to be able to perform. And then, people who can swim against the tide, and people who are probably too young. It's like, we take a lot of example from nature. It's first you cross the road with the hen, and then you have the small chicken that follow. I think you have to protect people, but at the same time empower them and try to broker a vision in which the organization, the bigger entity that we all work for, and the kind of smaller entities and people and then the projects also can have a way into this.
Yeah, that they see the value of and the contribution.
Yeah, otherwise, it's impossible to deliver results on a long-term basis.
A simple thing that I think we can or relate to is like when it's once again the round of annual planning and it's about budgets, and you're leading a unit, let's say, that is responsible for, creating a particular software product. And you have your visions about this, you're connected with the value of what you're doing, your team is aligned, they love the product. However, in the grand scheme of things, maybe you're leading a unit that is that has a product that, is not really the future for the corporation. So yeah, you'll be fighting, for getting the resources that you want. But the question is, how do we get to a point where we develop this broader view, that we understand that when you look at this from a bird's eye view at the organization, you see that perhaps this time it's better that some of the resources, which are never enough, go actually where they're needed the most, or where they're needed now, or where they're needed for the future. That's the tough part. Don't we have to become advocates for this also at one point?
I think yes, we always should use our, advocacy abilities in order to gain for our team. And I've realized that when you say yes to something, for sure there is something you said no. So if you say yes to the corporate request, some request from local team will have a no answer. So it's difficult, but this is the game from my.
I think a culture of multinationals teaches you the science of compromise eventually, and of a compromise that is always difficult to reach, but that kind of it makes the world go around and assures a little bit of equilibrium between obviously local objectives and basically other objectives or bigger objectives. The science is to know what kind of compromises to make and how to sell global visions in the local setting, but also allow people in the local ecosystem to thrive as well and develop. Yeah.
How do we sell to our own teams best that we're actually going to advocate for a compromise?
With passion.
With
logic.
With logic and also common sense, I would say, because it's like in negotiations. Of course, you ask for the best deal for you, but eventually you have to get a little bit closer to your partner in order to reach a position that he is comfortable with. So I always tell people, you need to set very ambitious goals for yourself, but you also have to be realistic that it will not take one step to get there. It's smaller steps. Sometimes it's side steps, and you have to always have some kind of B plan, C plan, D plan that is comfortable with you, and that it will get you closer to your bigger goal.
You said passion.
Yes, because from my point of view, you have, let's say, two ways to push the team or to pull the team. And this is the difference. I prefer to pull the team, not to push, to stay in the back and push and push. No, to go forward and from time to time take a look in my back and to see if somebody follow me. Because if you run very quickly, probably they will stay somewhere and try to understand what happens. So yes, I've realized that many times when we had a good project, we have passion there. So yes, but also the logic is important because they are smart people. My team, okay, and probably your team, and they need somehow to understand the reason, the feeling, the effort, because many times we need to make some effort during small period in order to have good project.
Right.
So,
okay.
So first passion, after logic. Maybe when you buy something, I've realized that
you're asking
you buy
the wrong question to the wrong person.
Yes, when you buy something, you buy because your heart asks for this product, the car, the dress, I don't know, shoes, and after that you try to explain with your logic. I need a car because I need to move quickly. This car is more important because it's more, I say, good looking, red color, and so. And after you already decide what car you need, you will have a lot of argument built with your logic. But I think that the passion should be the driver.
So
you are not.
I understand.
I start from the need, so then you build. But that's a man's perspective, indeed.
Maybe it's not so incompatible because we might instinctively know that we should be doing a certain thing, right? But then what stands in the way is that we also have to say maybe goodbye to something that we were hoping to happen before. So, and I guess it's actually not so far away from what happens, even, also in our minds, that we instinctively know actually it would be the right thing to do. But we need some time to find the logic that actually justifies this, because sometimes there are different people that predispose differently. Some people like to lead more from facts and rationality. Some people lead and make decisions completely from the gut, although we know that a mixture of both is actually healthy.
Yes.
So perhaps it can happen both ways.
I think it's contextual. Everything is contextual, and I'm not saying anything new, but there are decisions that you take with logic. And we are experiencing as a social phenomenon these days two types of messages. We are told facts, figures explained by scientists, because to this type of people and to this type of mind, this is what works. On the other hand, you have the emotional part, things that stem from tradition, education, background, circles of trust and of
network.
We even work, and simply these arguments do not permeate the other side. So, and they continue to have this dialogue, which is crazy. It's like one party is deaf, the other one is mute. And obviously there's no agreement. I think eventually the art is to combine the two visions and make sure that everybody buys into a compromise solution which makes everybody happy.
A balance.
Yeah. Let's I want to explore something with you that has to do with the enterprise mindset. If you would give an advice to your past self, or maybe to a young, freshly baked manager, someone who just ascended to be responsible for people and outcomes, what advice would you give them with regards to make sure that you understand building, but you also understand brokering? How would you explain that that's going to help them?
You want to start?
An advice to not be scared, because I felt in the past some, let's say, big differences between me and younger people. And finally, I'm lucky because I have 2 kids, and I had the opportunity to learn how we could communicate with the young generation. And I think we could be open and sincerely each other and ask for help, because I didn't ask for help myself at the beginning in my career. I tried to do everything myself, and to prove that I'm good enough, I'm powerful enough. But finally I've realized that a team is more powerful comparing with individual. It's a synergy there. So yes, to be sincere, to ask help, and to communicate very open. So the new generation, my kids and other young people, are more free to communicate, to express their needs. So our task is only to listen. It's very, very easy.
Yeah, Mihnea, before you say what's on your mind, I just wanted to dig a little deeper on this one. So I want to bring this a little bit to the situation as a manager of a team. You're responsible for some outcome. Assume you focus on that your team understands, is connected with what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, understands the contribution and so on. And I was trying to talk about that there's a need for you as a manager to federate or to broker the value of what this team is doing beyond your own team, so to your peers, to other units, to your managers, and so on. And I guess I would say there's a huge importance in that happening. Because one day, otherwise, people are going to ask, who's Frank? What's he doing? You know? And when on that day I come say, hey, I need a budget investment, people go like, you know, I haven't made the effort of connecting what I do with what the overall corporation goals are, and I haven't made it known. And I was wondering, really, what are the advices that you could give somebody that just started to, even in this, or maybe it's not even recommendable, I'll let you be the judge of that, but even in that first phase, to maybe open their view or their perspective, just make it broader from day one.
Well, it's a tough one, and again, it's, you know, it depends a lot on the type of organization that you work for. Some of them are
the best in the world.
Yes, no, but some of them are more open than others, and allowing a little bit more independence and autonomy than others. And it depends. A lot of what you're saying here is cultural. A lot of what is cultural is very much closer to the way we operate even outside our workplace. I think it's important for you as a manager to try to align ambitions and objectives. And I'm talking about personal ambitions, and I'm talking about corporate objectives. If you do this in a way that makes people happy, it won't always make everybody happy, but overall, it makes people happy, it makes people valued, it makes people feel like they own a part of the result. As you were saying, celebrate basically every success, irrespective of who's having it, what size of the success, celebrate it. I think that already creates an environment in which people feel encouraged to come up with ideas, not be afraid to fail, experiment. And my advice, because I wanted to jump in, is, and maybe it's against what I'm saying right now, it's don't rush. Younger generations usually rush through positions, rush through things, expect things to happen at a certain speed, much quicker than our generation, for example, was expected to receive praise or receive ownership or responsibilities. So my advice to them is don't rush. Individuals move faster than organizations in changing. So you need to allow for some time for organizations to change as well. But
yeah, I love that point.
Don't rush.
Yes, but I think you need to feed their needs for rush, to give them something to eat quickly, because otherwise they will become very upset. They will change the company very quickly, because yes, they learn from the beginning. If they want to have a new phone, it's very easy. Mom, I want to have a new phone, and his or her mother bought a new phone in 2 days, and they have everything instantly. So we should fit somehow their needs in this perspective.
That's why I'm saying you need to manage their expectations in a way that they don't perceive this as a stop to their evolution in a way, but at the same time that I have to say it, they have to comply with a certain corporate discipline, because that's how corporates operate. And it's ironic a little bit, because I've spent 20 years in corporations, and now I'm on my own and doing things separately. But I think, you know, the things that I've learned are that, you know, with this experience, it's much easier to create ecosystems again, because you know what works and what doesn't work with people.
Right. Actually, we kind of drifted into, which I like, I have to say, into the topic of, you know, how does this work with, you know, millennials and Gen Z?
Perfect.
Right? But, well, come on, it's a good question. I don't know if it's already now, or probably already now, half of the workforce is millennials and Gen Z. So it's a reality, right? So things are changing. But it's interesting, though, isn't it, that their energy and their drive and their want to rush also has a lot of value, you know, that actually brings new ideas at an accelerated speed. But you're right, there's still the management of the expectations.
You need to harness the energy. Do not smoothen the edges so much, because that's where value comes from. That's where drive comes from. But eventually you need to sell a vision, whether you work for a corporate or you work for a business that you try to set up. It's not easy with millennials and with the younger generations, but it's always refreshing for you to take cues from what they are telling you. And I think that, you know, that makes you more flexible in your mindset. And the more flexible you are, the easier you will find, you know, selling your vision to other people, to other younger people. I'm dealing with this quite a lot these days. Most of the people I meet are much younger than me, have a much different mindset than I had when I was their age. So I always start by trying to position myself in their shoes and trying to think like them in order to get to what it's important for them. And then use what I'm learning from the interaction with them. Fascinating.
I know, this one I could actually talk about for hours.
Me too. Yes. But it all starts with kids, actually, because that's where we take most of our cues. We start with kids, and we learn how to negotiate and how to sell things to them or to manage their expectations. Then when you bring it up with adults, you realize it's basically the same game in the end.
But you know, I would even think that regardless of whether that's what we're talking about, we started to talk about at least with the enterprise mindset. Yeah, it's a corporate topic. It's one that is extremely prevalent in large organizations as they wonder, where do our next leaders come from, like enterprise leaders. And for that, the mindset is important. But then also, if you start your own thing, it's quite important to get a much, much broader view about than just the aspect of what you're passionate about, isn't it? You must see that a lot also. When you look at young talent, young founders and so on, they're very maybe passionate about one thing, but then the breadth of the business is so much more. So how do they cope with that?
They cope perfectly in a way, which is so natural. But you remember when we were fresh out of school, we were told that your life should be more or less aligned to a certain vision, and that vision was given back then by the multinationals, and there weren't so many back then. So when you got into one, it was like, wow. I remember to this day when I first started, somebody told me, you're set for life now. I said, why? Because basically you will have everything you want. A car, a house, holidays.
A dog?
No, a dog
was not.
I was not sold on the dog thing. But I thought, well, it's amazing. These are really great things. But with time, you realize that you want more, and you want autonomy, and you want independence, and you want to have the ability to say one day, sorry guys, I want to start something new. I'll do it. With younger generations, it's much easier because they have much more. You know, it's the smorgasbord is much bigger in their case. In our case, it was rather limited. It was not so many options. And entrepreneurial culture back then, come on, it was non-existent, I would say.
Yes.
But with them, it's so much easier to say, I want to start something. I have this idea. I can develop this into a broader vision. Let me try for a year, for 2. Maybe if I fail, I start something else. It's not like they are not dependent on one thing that is going to shape their lives. They can
that's
try
true.
Much
there
more,
are so
more.
many more options. That's actually of course, the main reason as to why you can't force a Gen Z person to just play by the rules, because if they don't like it, they just move on. You know, there are so many things which they can at least survive.
That plays perfectly into my narrative, because there's no playbook that I can offer. So I'm saying there's no playbook. We need to improvise. We all do the same things. Eventually, we will specialize in something. But right now, I need to learn from you social media skills. How do you improve the kind of your CEO, SEO, CO? Sorry. the search engine optimization. That's something new for me. You need to help me understand this. I will help you understand how people say usually no when they don't understand, and then they maybe come to. So there are a lot of cross-pollination items in this relationship, which is great, I think. Well, you have to have the mindset for doing this.
That's interesting. Also, mindset in this context also seems to me like it requires. Maybe this is even the first step. Then is to learn how to lead yourself, because as a person you might be incredibly passionate about one thing, but in order to actually make anything happen, or even lead other people as well, you got to be learning a lot about yourself first. What was that for you when you think back?
I think it's important to be, to be okay with yourself, and after that try to, during in the airplane, they explain you if something is wrong, you should put yourself the mask, and after that take care of your team, of your neighborhood and then so on. And I think our generation, like Mihnea said before, is for me it's important to know before to do. And if I want to do something as entrepreneur, first I need to learn how to organize marketing, SEO, accounting, legal, and so on. But younger generation jump directly into the subject. Let's try. This is the difference. So probably the best solution is something between. To have the courage to jump, and also to have a small minimum knowledge, minimum level of knowledge about what you need as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I think something between is the best option.
So
jump or not.
I like the oxygen mask thing.
Yes.
In times of massive burnouts everywhere, it's probably more true than ever.
It's something that we learn, and I think again I'm remembering when we started. You always want to over deliver. You always want to, and you think, and you tend to be individualistic. And I was told once, I think it was about 19 years ago, don't try so hard. There are also other people here who need to don't kind of occupy all the territory, because it was like this. You were trying to make a space for yourself, and in doing that you were taking on a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things, without thinking that this is going to be damaging first for you, because you would be not be okay if you fail in some of them. You can't win everything. Tired,
not very well, not healthy.
Exactly. And then I learned these things the hard way much later. And I fully agree with you. You first need to be comfortable with yourself, and you need to not ask too much from yourself. Stay within a certain area where you can safely go on. And then if you're okay, then everybody else is going to be okay. Because if you're not, then everybody else will feel that.
Yeah. I loved it how at the end of our talk we actually had a message about mental health. No, seriously, I'm sure it's more important than ever. Also in the context of what we've been living through in the last 1.5 years. So that's a big one. Thank you to both of you for this discussion in which we have been jumping around through many topics. It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much for coming, to both of you.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
And the time
is
went
just
so quickly. Unbelievable.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.